Rosé champagne is so much more than a gimmick for the holidays or Valentine's Day. In fact, arguably, it is the best champagne style to pair with food. It is so versatile. It comes in such an array of styles, but that's where people get tripped up. Now, the thing is this, there's two main styles. There's what's known as assemblage and Saignée. And we're going to go through that today to better understand how these styles work. We're focusing on six fantastic growers to help you learn. Rosé champagne isn't just some new sort of marketing gimmick. It's actually been around for a long time. We've seen it in records going back to the 1700s, where Ruinart mentioned it in their books. And back then, there was what's known as Oeil de Perdrix, or the pigeon's eye. And that was done likely with maceration on skins, which is what's known as Saignée. Now, in the 1800s, Rosé de Assemblage came about to get that nice lighter salmon color that we know, where you're blending in some red wine with still white wine. And today, these are the two prominent styles of champagne for rosé, and I cannot wait to get into this for you. Now, our first one to kick off is a producer that I think is really on fire and is one you need on your radar across the board. This is A. Bergère, brought in by Grand Cru Selections. This is a producer that's fantastic, and they've been around since about the 1840s. They present a ton of fantastic value, and this actually sees about 90% Chardonnay with 10% Pinot Noir. And of course, this is going to be from the assemblage. So what that means is red wine is blended in, and let's get right into it. There's this real sort of lovely lift to it. This nice citrus, stone fruit, peach flavor. It is strawberry and a bit like vanilla bean that I'm really, really digging. It's nice and fresh, really easy drinking. This is one that I could see going with like a lot of seafoods, or just being like a summer sort of porch pounder type wine. Now that's fun, fresh, and lively on the feel. I'm a really big fan. This is actually my first time with the rosé. Uh, really brings some vibrancy, some freshness, a lot more citrus-driven flavors, but you get a little bit of that sort of strawberry and red fruits that comes from the blending in. This is a really fantastic wine to kick things off, and one that I really hope gets on your radar. Now, our second wine, this is one that I really dig. This is from a producer that's been around for a bit, and they make a special club. They're best known as Emargane. They're now on their fifth generation, with Matilde being the winemaker. This is a producer that's in an area where Chardonnay is their focus, but it's a rounder Chardonnay. It's not that real linear Chardonnay you'll get from the Cote de Blanc, and I cannot. Now, this right here is a perfect case of how wide the range is, right? So the Bergère was 90% Chard, 10% Pinot. This is now 80% Chard, 20% Pinot. This is also done in that rosé de assemblage style. So you get more of that salmon color that you might well be used to, and that you'll see from, like, say, Provençal rosés. There's this real lovely sort of baked bread, toasty note that comes from what's known as autolytics. A lot of fresh pears, apples, strawberries, citrus fruits. It's just this real pretty dance that's going on in the nose, and I cannot wait to try this. So this is a really fun way to kick this off, as these are two Chardonnay-focused producers that are up and coming, or have been around for a bit but are now getting rediscovered. But yet they present such different perspectives on this, and really just on the terroir of Champagne itself. And I think a lot of people don't always think about that. There's a more round feel on the palate. This is these nice and refreshing, crisp, and mouthwatering, but with a lot of elegance and just a little bit of weight. Nice and medium bodied, really pretty, really elegant. And what a great way to get into this. Now, our third wine, this comes from a really small producer, and this is brought in by Cage Imports, who really focus on the really small producers. This is Guy Maya, the Rosé de Lys, and this is an estate that's been around since 1922, but they're only 7 hectares. And one of the reasons I wanted to show this off is that this is from near Bouzy, so this is Pinot Noir country. But even with this being in Pinot Noir country, it's still 70% Chard and 30% Pinot. So we're just kind of moving down the line. But it's really elegant. I've really enjoyed their wines in the past. And there's more of this sort of navel orange, sort of Meyer lemon, spring flowers, bacon spice, a little bit of cinnamon spice, strawberries, vanilla. This is really, really pretty stuff. Really enjoyable. Now, this is my first time with this, but I just love this importer. They bring in so much fantastic wines. We had the Rousseaux-Batteux previously, and I'm going to be sure to link that below. But that's the quality that this importer brings in, and I cannot wait to taste this. Holy cow, that's like Christmas morning in my mouth. There's all this like cinnamon club spice. There's like these beautiful red florals, strawberries, berries, and citrus notes. A lot of biscuity flavors. This is really complex, and this delivers so much. I'm just in love with this wine already. Holy cow. Wow. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, that's one to seek out for sure. Fantastic producer. I'm just getting to know them, and I hope you guys are going to start looking out for them too. Now, wine four, this is also coming from Cajun Imports, but this is very different. This is a Levasseur. I hope I got that right. But this is a house that focuses more on Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. There's only 5% Chardonnay in this. Now, Pinot Meunier is kind of the workhorse grape of Champagne, and it exists in a lot of Champagne. And only, I would say, within the last decade or so, have we seen producers really focus on it and coax the best parts of it out and really make wines that are driven by Meunier as a grape. And I cannot wait to try this. There's this nice sort of warm dough and that earthiness that I sometimes do get from Pinot Meunier. It's robust with like a little like bruised apple, but it's not oxidative, if that makes sense. This nice dark red cherry, a bit of raspberry, baking spices, that cinnamon spices there, red florals. This is really complex and a bit searching. You gotta let it tell you its story, and I think it has a good story to tell. And we're about to try this. If you ever want to know what like Lee's contact is and how it creates flavors, you need to try this wine. It's so doughy and pastry and biscuity, but then there's just this nice bit of red fruits and citrus flavors just lying on top, just gliding down the river, sort of. There's that robustness on the palate. It's expansive, but with vertical acidity and a real mouth-watering quality. That's my first time with it. I'm really impressed. Now, this might not always be for everyone. You've got to kind of like something a little savory a bit. But if you do, this Levasseur, it's fantastic. That is really doing it for me in so many great ways. And wine number five, we're coming with Champagne Salmon. They are also a special club producer, and they are entirely focused on Pinot Meunier. This is a estate that I've been lucky enough to visit in my life, and they're helmed by Alexandre Salmon, and really talented winemaker who's in his early 40s that took over for them and really took them up a level. He's the third generation winemaker, and they aren't that far from Roms, but they're about southwest. These other wines go either south or to the southeast. This gets you more into really what's known as Meunier country, and that's exactly what they do. And I cannot wait to try this. There's this sort of doughy robustness going on in the nose that I'm really, really digging. Some orange peel, Meyer lemons, nectarines, kumquat, biscuits, pears. There's a lot going on, but it's all balanced at the same time. And I cannot wait to try this. The best way to describe that on the palate is expansive. Really balanced, but it just sort of expands out on your mouth. Really elegant, but with nice crisp acidity that just refreshes everything. This is such a winner. It's been a while since I've had this, and I'm so glad that they're brought back in more consistently now. And they are fantastic. Their special club is an absolute knockout. And this rosé is one you need to seek out. If you really want to know what Pinot Meunier can do, the Champagne Salmon Rosé, this is it. This is the one to look for. And our final wine is from Les Larges Peugeot. And this is the one that we have, that Saunier. So what does that mean? That means it has spent time on the skins before they do the direct press. They aren't blending in any red wine. Giving it that time in the skins, using a little bleed off to make something a bit more Venus, a bit more wine like, right? It's not just effervescence. This is more of a meal in the glass. The Large Peugeot is also really well known for being more of a natural producer these days. They've been organic officially since 2014, but they were moving in that direction really since the early 90s. They've been sort of at the forefront of biodynamic and organic farming, and something that they really believed in early on before it became popular. And I cannot wait to try this. Now you can just see in the glass, this has a darker color. This is also their first vintage in which they were organic. This is 2014. This is also the only wine that has no dosage, meaning there's no sugar added. They are just letting the fruit shine. This is a very different nose than everything else. This is showing off more orange peel, red apples, red cherries, a lot of just red fruits, a bit of red florals, but that baking spice, that toast, that brioche to really round things out. But then there's this like sort of esteriness that lets you know that, yeah, this is undergone like sort of a different process than the other wines, and we're going to give this a taste. So that is a wine that's not going to be for everyone. It definitely goes into the natural category. If you're into natural wines, you're going to dig that. If you're not, these other five are probably the way to go. It's a little feral on the palate. The acidity is a little angular, a little jagged, but it works. This is a wine that I dig, but I don't entirely dig because I'll be honest, my palate goes kind of classic. So I'm glad I opened it up for you guys because I really want to show the range. What I can tell you this much though is I'm really going to be drinking on the salmon and the Gaimea and the Bergère. Those are wonderful, but these are all winners. I'm a big fan. Seriously, rosé, it's awesome. Please drink it for more than just Valentine's Day and the holidays. Treat it more as the food champagne that you're going to have. And let me know. Are you a fan of rosé champagne? Put that down in the comments. Be sure to hit that like button and absolutely be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.